2 videos in one day. Hey guys, Zen here, and I'm just beyond excited with the reveal of the brand new mini set Mythical Island. And we've actually already uploaded a video covering the trailer and all the new cards and my initial thoughts. And I just, to be honest, could not wait to theory craft. So here we are, theory crafting with the 15 cards that we've already seen and that have been revealed and what I think they will bring to the new meta of Pokemon Pocket. Man, this is so refreshing, to be honest. Like, these cards are crazy. But real quick, some things I forgot to cover are that there will be 80 cards in this set, including at least 2 immersive cards, 5 trainers, and 5 brand new EX Pokemon. We've already seen 2 of them, and we're going to get 3 more. Also, it's important to note that Celebi was mentioned as a Pokemon in the YouTube video description of the official, this video right here, TCG Pocket Mythical Island. And today, that's something that I forgot to mention in the first video. But for this video, we're going to go over the 15 new cards thanks to Pokemon Zone. I will link them in the description down below. Shout out to them for this website and getting this up rather quickly. But first things first is the Mew EX 130 size shot genome hacking. Now, the genome hacking is the interesting attack here. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack and use it as this attack. Now, this sounds like Ditto. However, there is one key thing you guys are forgetting. This thing, look at Ditto real quick. It's the exact same attack. However, it has a caveat, the second portion. Choose one of your opponent's attacks and use it as this attack, right? Any of your Pokemon's attacks. Mew X's, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack and use it as this attack. Now, the second part of Ditto is if this Pokemon doesn't have the necessary energy to use that attack, this attack does nothing. Mew EX does not say that, which means it'll probably do the exact same attack. It'll do Crimson, Storm, it'll do Side Drive, it'll do a Hydro Bazooka, it'll do all those. The thing that I'm wondering is, does it also use the effects of the attack, discarding 2 fire type energies? Well, if you don't have fire type energies, do you discard anything? That means Mew EX could potentially use back-to-back Crimson Storms if your opponent has 2 Charizard EXs without the necessary fire energy. And that's something I'm very excited about. It also has 1 retreat cost, which makes it pretty good, and it's a 4 diamond card that's weak to darkness type. But I think Mew EX right now, I'm going to say this is going to be a staple Pokemon EX card that you can literally put into any deck. Like, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't run a Mew EX. It has the genome hacking can be used in literally any deck, and it could be a really nice counter to a lot of threats. Speaking of threats, I really feel like this mini set, I just want to get this off. A lot of people have already mentioned this in the previous video in the comments. It really feels like the devs were listening with, you know, all of us complaining that EX Pokemon were kind of a threat. So they gave us anti-EX Pokemon meta threats. And then also they were like, you know, we see the problems with Misty being pretty inconsistent for a lot of water type trainers. So we gave you another option. We'll get into that a little bit later. But you're, of course, going to see a lot of people complaining here and there. But I feel like the cards that they've shown us already really presents as if it's a team that is listening to the community feedback, which honestly feels great, unless they already had this plan from the get-go. Next up, we have to talk about Aerodactyl EX. First of all, this thing is a fighting type and not a normal type. So that's something you might notice. It's an EX Pokemon, 140 HP. Land Crush deals 80 damage, but Primeval Law has the ability that says your opponents can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their active Pokemon. Now, at first when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's not great, right? However, it doesn't require Aerodactyl EX to actually be in the active spot. Do you see what I'm cooking with here, guys? Already, you guys have already mentioned it, but before I even read the comments, like, it clicked in my head. I made a little graphic for it, but I just want to bring a vision to you guys. Arbok, Aerodactyl. Throw in something like a Sabrina or even a Pidgeot if you're able to get that off, and you're easily winning within 3 turns. Like, how many basic Pokemon have more than 60 HP other than like Bulbasaur or something, right? That actually evolve. You can use your Pidgeot, you can use your Sabrina, bring them in, have Aerodactyl EX on your bench, and Arbok just swipes through them. This thing, honestly, it's pretty interesting. That's one variation. Another variation that we were already kind of thinking about is Victory Bell. Victory Bell, swap in a basic Pokemon, one-shot them. They can't evolve once they're in there. Another really good one. However, I think the Arbok would be better. This is weak to electric, which is interesting because it's also strong into electric. So I think that's something that we should consider. It is a 4-diamond card, and I am so excited to cook some decks with Aerodactyl EX. But those are the 2 EX Pokemon we've seen that they've shown us, and we're getting 3 more EX Pokemon. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I don't know what they're gonna be. They're giving us Aerodactyl. They swapped its typing. They went from normal Aerodactyl to fighting type Aerodactyl, so they can honestly give us anything. It says here that there's a Pidgeot EX effect to be confirmed. I guess there was an image of this. I didn't catch it. If you guys caught this, let me know. And there's a Celebi EX. Maybe this is based off data mined information. But as far as I know, I haven't seen anything. All I saw was there was Celebi mentioned in the description, but that's about it. Moving on to the Execute. This went over my head until you guys brought up a good point. This is insane. And you see, I'm covering the image here, but Executor EX, this single Execute card enables Executor EX to be played into any deck, regardless of the energy. You could put this in a Dragonite deck if you wanted to, because all you have to do is play your Execute, give it any energy, use Growth Spurt, take a Grass Energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon, evolve it the next turn, Executor is dealing damage. This thing is insane. I'm so happy that they're giving us this card, but also I really hope they give us other cards that evolve into a single energy attack user that does something similar to this. Maybe even if it's like 2 energy, like imagine getting something like a Cubone for 1 colorless energy, ramps a fighting type energy to itself. You would have to wait 2 turns, but then you could eventually evolve into Marowak EX as well. I think that would be really cool to get basic Pokemon to do this. That way you can slot in these dual energy types into these dual energy decks without actually needing dual energy in your energy zone. 50 HP keeps it the same as the other one, which means, you know, a Charmander one-shots it. So you got to be careful about that. Next up is Snivy. And yes, this thing means it'll evolve into Survive. Just kidding. You guys already called me out on that. Superior. Apparently I called this a Viper. Listen, they're all snakes. Cut me some slack here. But I think this is pretty good. That means we're getting some black and white Pokemon from Gen 5. Personally, one of my favorite gens after, you know, Gen 2 and obviously Gen 1. Those are obviously the best gens. Anything else, you guys are wrong, sorry. But I hope we get Tepig and Oshawott. Oshawott probably my favorite, to be honest, out of those 3. But yeah, 70 HP. This is literally Bulbasaur, if you think about it, with the Vine Whip. This whole thing screams Bulbasaur. So I really hope we're getting a full line, and as well as the other 2 starter Pokemon. Next up is Morlul, and this is interesting to me. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think their final evolution is going to have a Pokemon ability that's going to be nuts. Maybe something that ramps, something like Gardevoir. I don't know why. It could be because of the ram attack, but I feel like this screams grass type Gardevoir to me. I could be wrong though. So that's something that I'm very hopeful for. Again, without knowing the evolutions of these 2 Pokemon, there's really not much to go off of. Next up is Delmise here. This is essentially a grass type Lapras. Like it literally is a grass type Lapras, and that's weak to fire type. That's kind of it, which is good. However, Lapras has things like Misty and the new Vaporeon we're going to talk about. Unless grass gets a ramping card, right? Like maybe this, like I'm saying, that's why I'm really thinking a grass type archetype. Hopefully we'll get something that helps it ramp better than Lilligant. No offense to Lilligant, but I feel like you could definitely be better. So yeah, Delmise is just kind of a grass type Lapras. I don't know. It might be good with the 100 basic Pokemon HP right here to stall front line. Let's talk about Magmar. I'm pretty disappointed in this card. A lot of people are like, oh, it's pretty good. It is. It is if you're going into a non-EX format. You know, having the extra 30 damage is pretty solid. However, I understand it's a basic Pokemon, but Ninetales is just better. Like Ninetales is 110% better. 1 retreat cost, 10 more HP, 10 more damage. I don't know, this Magmar just doesn't feel great. I could be wrong. I could be entirely wrong, especially with the new Aerodactyl meta. Having maybe a basic Magmar that deals 80 damage, potentially 110, might actually be the move. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, honestly. I can't tell. It's too early. Next up is Larvesta, and I want to point out something. I think Volcarona is going to be the next EX Pokemon, because this is an 80 HP basic Pokemon. What are they going to evolve into? A 140 Volcarona? No, I think it's going to have to be like 170, 180 Volcarona. And that's in the range of an EX Pokemon. It just doesn't make sense to me to have this little larva evolve into something with only like 50 or 60 more HP. Combustion here is 2 energy for 30 damage. I feel like we're gonna get a Volcarona with 2 attacks and EX. I could be coping here, but I really think that's gonna happen. Next that we have to talk about is the Vaporeon, dude. I've already talked about it so much in the video previously, but this thing is crazy. A lot of you guys talked about Dragonite. It won't work with Dragonite with the ability. As often as you'd like during your turn, you can move a water energy from one of your benched water Pokemon to your active water Pokemon. It's not going to work with that. What it will work with is your Blastoise, your Gyarados, heck, your Articunos, your Lapras EX, your normal Lapras, all those Pokemon that require a lot of water energies. All you have to do is hit one Lucky Misty with like 5 or 6 water energy, and you could just ramp fully a Blastoise and start dealing 160 damage. This thing says as often as you like during your turn, meaning if your bench has 6 water energy and you play a Blastoise with 0, you can Lieutenant Surge yourself that turn and just move all those energies to your Blastoise and deal 160 damage. That's insane. But also include it with a deck like Misty, even though Misty's inconsistent. All you have to do is hit one Lucky Misty. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. But it's actually really cool because it's making a card like Gyarados viable, which a lot of people have been asking for. I mean, I am one of those people. Gyarados is probably one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon along with Dragonite. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Vaporeon, but something we should also mention here. What does that mean about Jolteon? And what about Flareon? Are they also going to have abilities? Only time will tell, you guys. I hope Jolteon is something spicy. Next up is a Pikachu. There's no picture here just because the picture wasn't actually like super easy to see. Here's kind of what it looks like. It's a 60 HP, so you might have quickly missed it in the trailer, but we can go over it very quickly. This thing is an HP of 60. It has Circle Circuit. It's literally your EX Pikachu, but at most it can do 30 damage, right? Potentially 50 damage if it's into a weakness. It's literally Pikachu EX, but like baby version, right? It's baby Pikachu. We're gonna call it baby Pikachu. You guys are not gonna like that, but it is baby Pikachu, sorry. Next up is Dedenne, and listen, this thing might make a Pincushion obsolete. I mean, Pincushion doing 30 damage. Also, Pincushion is Pincurchin, if you're wondering. Does 30 damage and has 10 more HP, but being able to just put 1 energy on this and then invest onto your bench, being like a Pikachu EX, Zapdos, something else like that, and to potentially also paralyze your opponents is pretty strong. I think this is going to make Pikachu EX rather strong, and I'm very excited for that. Next up is Marshadow, and this is a mythical Pokemon card that I thought might be a weaker Primate, but upon a little bit more reflection, I feel like you can throw this in, and this thing comes in and one-shots a Pikachu EX after they knock out one of your Pokemon. So like, I think this could be a very good into anti-Pikachu meta, but also into a lot of other things. Like if your opponent one-shots one of your Pokemon, you bring in Marshadow and you're easily dealing 100 damage the following turn up to 40. So 140 damage across 2 turns for only 2 energy investment and 1 retreat is pretty good. Can't complain, honestly. Pretty good. And the art on this card, lovely. But now we have to talk about the card that you guys are all excited about, including myself. The one thing I'm not excited about is the 3 energy requirement for fighting Tackle. However, Tauros is literally the EX Pokemon stopper. With this ability, if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX card, this attack does 80 more damage, meaning you deal 120 damage to EX Pokemon. Pikachu, you don't exist. And also, you survive a Pikachu attack as long as they don't have Giovanni. So, yeah, huge fan of this. Not a huge fan of this though. Wish that was different. Maybe we'll get a card that actually accelerates energy, like 2 colorless energy. That would be kind of amazing. We'll have to see. But speaking of energy, we'll talk about that in a sec. Here we have Blue, one of the supported cards shown. I think it's pretty good. During your opponent's next turn, all of your Pokemon take -10 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. And then we have Leaf here. This is a card I actually skipped over. This is the final card that was revealed. During your turn, the retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 2 less. This is good for things like frontline Snorlax. Kangaskhan can now pivot out. A lot of decks got a huge upgrade with Leaf. However, the question is, what cards are you removing in order to include this? Maybe the answer is you don't run a double copy of supporter cards and instead have one of each supporter card, but only use it when you really need to use it. Only time will tell, but that's probably how I might construct my decks. Very excited with these 15 cards that they've already shown us. And we're getting 80 cards, you guys. If you're excited and you want to see what we pull and what decks we build, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, help us hit a goal of 1,000 likes. That'd be amazing. And as soon as we get more information, including the entire 80 cards list, I'll make an updated video reviewing all of those cards, and we might as well start cooking some decks at that point. But that's going to be it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.